I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to America's Heartland and Kansas Speedway. National Racing Network is proud to be the new broadcast home for the ESRA INDYCAR Series. Tonight, we are bringing you the Prairie 120 here from the Kansas Speedway, 1.53-mile oval. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have Mr. Patrick Byrne here in the booth with us as well tonight. Patrick, what's going on, buddy?
I'm just sitting here watching practice. It looks like we're going to have a really close race. I mean, the whole field is within half a second, and top 10 is within a couple thousandths. It's really insane to watch here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a very good night of racing here. Let's tell you a little bit about what you're going to see here over the next, I will say, 90 minutes or so. Kansas Speedway, located in Kansas City, Kansas. 1.5 miles in length. Variable banking from 17 to 20 degrees. That will absolutely come into play over the course of the night. Will make for definitively 2-wide racing. 3-wide racing is possible, but probably not recommended. Facility opened back in 2001. These are the same cars that run in the NTT IndyCar Series in the real world. It's a Dallara IR18 chassis, 2.2-liter V6 turbocharged power plants, provided either by Chevrolet or Honda, 550 to 700 horsepower under the rear-mounted engines. Torque's going to be about 300 pound-foot. Wheelbase 119 to 121 inches, a weight of only 1,590 pounds. These cars are capable of upwards of 230 miles per hour, and I don't think we're necessarily going to get quite that high in tonight's race, but Patrick, you could tell us a little bit more about these cars. They are a ton of fun to drive, but there's a ton of aero wash that they're going to have to deal with as well.
Yes, they're very sensitive to air. I'm seeing just single car, people are hitting almost 220 going to the turns before they have to lift. They're getting down to about 215. When you're right behind another car, I see them slowing down as low as 209, 208. So there is a huge advantage to having clean air here. I'm curious to see how far ahead the leader can get.
That will absolutely come into play here once we start talking about the pit stops as well. This is round number 1 of the championship, 120 laps is the distance tonight. Cautions are called by iRacing. Lap cars will head to the back. Restarts will see a double file restart for the first attempt. All subsequent restarts will be single file. Qualifying will be a best of 2 laps. Finally, and this is one that, Patrick, you're going to be able to really key us in on here. The pit strategy. Fuel window is going to be between 30 and 45 laps. They're going to have 6 sets of tires, 1 on the car, 5 in the pit box. So basically, it's almost like they have unlimited tires here, especially with the minimal tire wear. 1 backup car, the big one at the bottom of your screen. If you have to pit under green flag, you are going to lose at least a lap, more like a lap and a half.
Absolutely. I haven't run these cars in an oval in a pretty long time. However, I do remember tires being not so much of an issue until you get way over your fuel window. If you try and double stint tires, they will wash out, but that's plenty enough for tonight, as well as I expect to see a 3-stopper strategy, maybe 1 or 2 cars if we have a couple of consecutive cautions go on a 4-stopper, but I don't expect anything more than that. No crazy strategy calls tonight.
Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about with the some of the drivers pre-race. If you could get to lap 40, you can make it on 2 stops. But that is such a huge ask to not only have the cautions timeout right for you, but also really conserving your stuff, because the window is only to about 40 laps. So you're really going to be stretching it if you try to make it a 2-stopper.
Yeah, these cars do have different fuel mixtures, though, so you can go all the way down to fuel mixture 5. It'll definitely take away a ton of your horsepower. However, if your guy sitting in second place, just kind of cruising behind the leader, you put it in fuel mixture 3, 4, or 5, and you can save that fuel.
So we'll take a look here. Pick up the highest running car out on the racetrack. That is Tyler Hunt. We can get you everybody's best lap times up here on the screen. AJ Musselman, 24.927 seconds. However, 20th place, Chris Wilhite, 25.216. We're talking 0.3 of a second from first to 20th as we see Tyler get up into the outside safer barrier. How about a total gap from first to last of about 0.4 of a second? Could there be a more evenly matched field that we see here tonight?
No, this field is incredibly talented. They're all extremely close to each other in scale. I wouldn't be surprised that car in 20th can make their way all the way up to the lead of this race. It is just that close and intensive racing.
Yeah, this is not the first season for the ESRA INDYCAR Series, and we'll get you all the details on past champions and past race winners and all that kind of stuff as we kind of go along here. But the big key is these drivers are all, for the most part, known entities to each other. So I would imagine when you're cruising around at 220 mile an hour, it's going to be pretty important to know the tendencies of the people you're competing against.
Oh, absolutely. You have to know who is going to come down, cut off your nose, block you, and you have to know who's going to let you by, and you have to take advantage of those people. It's going to be really key to moving your way up in the front. Passing is going to be very, very difficult, and I wouldn't be surprised if they stay in and pack the entire race.
Yeah, pack racing is incredibly scary. It's one of the reasons that I think IndyCar is a little bit happy that they don't have that second and third groove available at Texas where they were last weekend. Because just like in the real world, the drivers here in the ESRA Series are pretty darn close to fearless, and we're seeing some qualifying simulations now. Cullen Johnston actually going to the top of the charts at a 24.83. These guys, if they have the opportunity to, they're going to run 2 and 3 wide.
Absolutely. If you just sit in the back of the field, you're going to lose your opportunity. Unlike a stock car, an IndyCar, you have to make your opportunities, but you can't take more than what's given. If you do, these cars are so fragile. Even a slight contact can take you out. So if you're given an opportunity, you have to force your way to the front.
We'll have several teams competing in the ESRA INDYCAR Series this season, including Lights Out Esports. They'll have Brian Voles, Jack Webb, Mario Miranda, and Shane Wyatt piloting their 4 machines. Dark Horse Racing is a 3-car effort. Julian Altina, Casey Knighton, and J.W. Miller. Team Ball Racing, one of the league admins here, Alexander Ball, has his team. That has Chris Wilhite, Jay Shallington, and Jim Brooks. Torque Wrench Motorsports, a single-car entry tonight for Scott Wise. Mediocre Motorsports and Team Watson Racing is I'll be polite and call it a collective. I think they have 12 cars entered between a total of 3 or 4 different teams. There's actually a Team San Jose, there's Team Watson Racing, there's also the Mediocre Motorsports cars. We're not going to run through the whole list of them, but it's basically everybody that we don't mention here. Finally, the last entry is going to be a single car for Mike Kruger out of the Butchers. Practice has wrapped up, and now it's time for qualifications. So we'll get qualifying mode up on the screen here for you. You'll see them at the bottom of the screen. When the time goes green, that means the car has set a personal best sector. When the time goes purple, that means they are overall fastest. Let's pick up here the 81 of Kyle Hanna as he makes his way around. And these cars are going to cycle through pretty rapidly, actually, in terms of who's setting what lap times here. The sectors on the ovals, for the most part, a little bit of a brush against the outside wall there for Hanna. That will DNQ that lap. The sectors on the ovals are basically the midway point of the back straightaway. So it's the turns 1 and 2 end, the turns 3 and 4 end. First car to come across and set a completed lap, is Alex Ress. 25.31 seconds. No quick time to the top of the board. Alexander Ball in the 29. 25.22 seconds. The lap time for the number 29 entry. Alec Coach jumps up to second quick. 25.24. Cullen Johnson, J.W. Miller, Alex Resch, your top 5. 14 cars have taken time. 0.3 of a second separates them. New quick time, top of the board, Jay Shallington. J.W. Miller goes faster. Charles T jumps to the top of the charts, 25.08 seconds. These cars are setting quick times as fast as we can spit them out. Chris Wilhite moves to second quick on the board, 25.13 seconds. Scott Wise, third. Let's pick up somebody here who still has some lap left to turn. Pick up Benjamin Combs here. He makes his way down the back straightaway. Working lap number 2. Mario Miranda jumps up to third quick. Jason Hand up to the 4th position. Top 5, even top 10 cars are within 9/100ths of a second of each other. Benjamin Combs jumps to the 6th position, 25.17 seconds. Everybody from 6th through 12th has set nearly identical lap times, 25.17 seconds. Couple of cars left still to go here. Thaddeus McMurray coming around. He's going to take the green flag for his first qualification lap. Lap number 1 is scored already, 25.37 seconds for McMurray in the number 48. Goes personal best in the turns 1 and 2 end, but not quick enough to take the overall top spot. 32 cars will be taking time tonight. Let's pick up this number 54 machine of A.J. Musselman. He was very quick in practice. First lap is in, 25.79 seconds for the pilot of the number 54 machine. Already into turns 3 and 4. Matt Wagner goes purple in sector 1. We'll see what he's going to be able to do with the second half of the racetrack. Musselman is faster. He goes second quick, 25.11. Wagner jumps up to P2, 25.10. 3/100ths separating first through third here in qualifications. Down to about 60 seconds remaining here. Jeff Destino going to make his way out onto the racetrack now. That's another of the Team Watson Racing entries. That machine all black. You can tell the Team Watson cars by the, again, we'll be polite, we'll say day glow. Yellow, green, and pink on the side of those cars. all of the front wings, will be color coded here. Destino stops in turns 3 and 4, so he should be able to still set. Yeah, he has not triggered the timing lines yet, so he's going to really get to wind the car up here. Still waiting on Casey Knight and Shane Wyatt, Jim Brooks, Julian Altina to set their laps. Destino, the only car on the racetrack right now. And with that, qualifications are done. Destino does not set a lap time. He's going to have to come from the back. Let's get your results for qualifying here as the field's going to start to get lined up on the grid. Charles Teed is your quick timer, 25.084 seconds. 15 1,000s back, Matt Wagner. AJ Muscleman, Chris Wilhite, Mario Miranda, your top 5. And let's get you the starting grid here for tonight's race as the field is starting to get lined up. Charles Teed and Matt Wagner will line up on the front row tonight. AJ Musselman and Chris Wilhite will occupy row number 2. Mario Miranda and Jason Hand in row 3. Scott Wise, Benjamin Combs in row number 4. Tyler Hunt and Cullen Johnston on row number 5. Alec Coates and James Watson in row 6. Row 7 will have Alexander Ball and J.W. Miller, Gary Corley, and Ty Richter on row number 8. Nicholas Wilson and the Frenchman Sebastian Kinder on row number 9. Eric McCarthy, Jay Shallington in row 10. Row 11, Thaddeus McMurray, Alex Ress. Row 12, James Kruger and Joseph Gralava. Row number 13, Zach Evans and Brian Voles. Row 14, Kyle Hanna and Shane Wyatt. Row number 15, Casey Knighton and Jim Brooks. Julian Alt, Jeff Destino will make up the final row. Neither of those cars set a time, and in fact, Julian Altina will not make the grid either for tonight's race, so he will unfortunately be a DNQ here as we get ready to roll for 120 laps at Kansas.
That is an absolutely mind-blowing number of cars on track. 31 cars taking the green flag is...
Yeah, this is one of the biggest
gonna be
fields
fun to
you'll
watch.
see. We are really looking forward to this one. Pace car is going to come off here real quick. Let's get to a couple of the comments here. Want to remind everybody, if you're watching on Facebook, you can comment with some stars to show your support of our work. If you leave a comment with it, we'll get that up on the screen. Our good buddy Robert Kreiser checking in, saying, hello, what's going on, brother? Hope you are having a fantastic evening. Zos Gaming, those James Watson schemes looking good. That's coming from the guy who painted those James Watson racing schemes. Field is off of turn number 4. Green flags in the air. We're underway here at Kansas. Seeing Julian Altina checking in the comments here. Wheel having issues. Can't take the green. He's upset. We're 3 wide for the race lead.
Car in the wall. 2 cars in the wall.
Yes, we can hear the beating and banging coming up here. We'll see if it's going to bring out a caution flag or not. Charles Teed, AJ Muscleman, Mario Miranda going to continue their fight. It was a 3-car battle. Now it's going to be about 5, rapidly closing in on 7 cars. Trouble on the racetrack for Jason Hand. And that will bring out our first caution flag of the evening here. Holy cow. That was absolutely unreal here. pull you up the Hot Shoe Raceway Instant Replay. See what happened here to Jason Hand. Already have that car up into the outside retaining wall. Another car with some damage as well. Looks like that may have been Benjamin Combs. That's one of the things about the Indy cars here is we're going to have to actually look fairly deep here. See if we can see what happened back here with Combs. Oh, Hand got it up into the outside retaining wall. Took Benjamin Combs with him. I'll tell you what, Patrick, I think that may be, especially with the backup car available, that may be a repairable set of damage here as we see Combs trying to get his car into his pit box. He's going to take the quick repair early. Unfortunately for Hand, he had to tow in.
I was just going to say, it's probably not race ending. However, they will go one lap or more down here. So unless they can fight to get that back, it is a long race. They can get it back, but I want to say they might be out of the race for tonight.
Daniel Harvey checking in from Australia says, going to be a lot of yellows. Maybe, maybe not. That's one of the things that when you're watching practice, you sort of have to keep in mind that the drivers are trying things and they're tweaking setups for the weather. And actually, we can get that information pulled up for you here on the side of the screen. It is an overcast day here at Kansas Speedway. 71-degree ambient temperature, 73-degree track temperature. That's going to be fairly grippy. However, you do have a 10-mile-an-hour wind coming out of basically kind of like the southeast. So what is that going to do, Patrick, to the cars here where you're fairly breezy, but your track temps are low, so you should be maybe a little grippier?
With a very, very cold track temperature, cold tires are going to be a pain, but once you get some heat in those tires, it's going to be glued to the racetrack. It's going to make it feel very, very tight. However, they do have plenty of in-car adjustments where they can try and loosen it up. So later in the race, track should warm up, and you should see them get a little bit, little slower, but a little bit slidier.
Slower and slidier. That just sounds like an absolute blast to be driving at a couple 100-mile-an-hour here, which that's something that it absolutely translates. That's everything we've heard the real-world drivers talk about, is how the sense of speed and the quickness of the reactions are as quick as you have to have in the real world. It is going to be very difficult to control these cars at times.
These cars, they feel very, very planted and stuck to the track, but out of nowhere they can just come and snap on you, and you got to be ready to jump on top of that wheel or it's going to take you out.
Yeah, that's one way to absolutely scare the daylights out of a race car driver here is to get the car all loosened up. So we're going to see our one side-by-side restart attempt here. Is Julian Altita checking in the comments again saying, turns out his wheel software needed updating. Perfect timing. That just stinks. Spend a whole week of practicing, getting ready to run these races. These teams do take these series very seriously. There is a lot of time and effort that goes into creating these setups. That is probably, is that our big smooth move of the race? To the steering wheel for needing an update about 60 seconds before grid time?
I believe so. That could take it. However, we do have about 114 laps of racing left to go, so plenty more opportunity for someone to take that title.
Yes, the big smooth move of the race is not the kindest award we can give out. That one goes to kind of somebody making the big bonehead move or something like that. So we'll see here. Now, looks like the lights are out on the iRacing safety car, and everybody is still single file. So I'm going to assume here we're not going to get a double file restart. Restarts are on the leader's prerogative. So basically, the leader can gap the pace car like Charles Teed has done here. And from then on out, the field is entirely in his hands. Down through the tri-oval, green flag is going to go back in the air. It's a good restart for Teed. Muscle Man and Wagner are going to fight for second into one. Wagner looks outside, but we have caution on the racetrack once again. About as quick as it came out. Yeah, we may have several cars that have had an issue here. Take a look. Get you a Hot Shoe Race for instant replay on Alex Ress. Yeah, that's just a self-spin on entry to one, and oh, man, he got absolutely drilled. A little bit of a spin there.
Team Watson entry car spinning. Ooh.
Yeah, I say that's actually two of them went around there because the other one was Shane Wyatt. Ress has to take the toe back here, and let's see if we can slow it down, get you an onboard of that one. Kind of give you an idea of what these drivers are feeling here. So we'll go on board here with Alex Ress into turn number 1. You'll be able to see the wheel towards the bottom of the screen. I mean, it's snapped with hardly any wheel motion.
Yeah, just like I was saying, these cars, you'll go to enter the corner or sometimes even on exit, and just out of nowhere, the back end of the car will come around, almost like you've blown a tire. But it's a very, very weird sensation, and you have to be right on top of it the second it happens, or there's nothing you can do.
What a look here from Jeff Destino's machine. Trying to get down the racetrack to avoid the slowing car in front of him. Yeah, that was not necessarily a self-spin there. That was more of a collision avoidance maneuver. We'll say it that way.
That was the best thing that could have happened to him. Case scenario for that situation.
I say I don't necessarily doubt that at all. So there you have a look at Jeff Destino's car sitting on pit road here. And here's the view on board now from your race leader, Charles Teed. He's led every lap so far. We're about 9 laps into this race, and probably the biggest headache now that some of these drivers are going to have to start to think about is, with the caution laps, you might be able to make it a 2-stopper, but you've already heat cycled the tires twice in 10 laps.
Yeah, that's going to make these tires feel very, very greasy, but I do think at this point they could make it a 2-stopper. You've had 7 or 8 laps now where you're just running the car in the caution fuel mixture, uses barely any fuel in that mode. You could save 2.5 to almost 3 laps of fuel every single lap under caution, which, with my math, puts them right in that window for making 40 laps.
Yeah, that. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out as the race continues here. Let's get you some close-ups here so you can see which drivers we are talking about here. There's a good look at the Dark Horse Racing entry of Charles Teed. He's been the leader since the drop of the green flag. Just back behind Charles, the AJM Consulting at number 54 of AJ Muscleman. Running in the 3rd position, butt kicker on the side of that machine, that is the 11 of Matt Wagner. That is one of the Team Watson Racing entries. The 99 of Mario Miranda runs in the 4th position. The Flamingo Promo, number 99. Honda Power underneath the hood of that machine. The Bumper Thumper Traction Compound, number 7 of Chris Wilhite, runs in the 5th position. Running in 6th, that is the Torqued Wrench, number 31 of Scott Wise. They also compete in some of the full-bodied series that the ESRA program runs. Mountain Holler on the side of the number 80 of Tyler Hunt. He runs in the 7th position. In 8th, again, another car with the iRacing butt kicker livery on it. That is Gary Corley. 9th, Alexander Ball, the Genesis colors, carried by, I think, Was a Hinch running those colors this year. Alec Coates in the Mediocre Motorsports, number 10, runs in the 10th position. Should be coming back to green this time by. Lights are out on the iRacing safety car. Once again, Muscle Man leaving a pretty big gap out there to Charles Teed, your race leader. He's going to easily be the leader into one, but Muscle Man got a fantastic drive into one last time by. Let's see what he's going to get on this restart here. Seems like everybody's spacing out a little bit more.
It's like Wagner's going to hold him low. It's going to give him a terrible entry going in 3. Can he hold through?
A nice pass outside by Matt Wagner to pick up second from Charles Teed here. We get the lap in under green. Just back behind them. Pretty good battle back here as well. That is Tyler Hunt and Scott Wise. Wise just ahead of Hunt as they make their way back into turn number 3. Slide even further back in the pack here. James Watson looking inside of Nicholas Wilson. Wilson trying to come around Alec Coates.
Gonna be too wide still. Nope. Watson going inside. Can he make the move stick coming out of 2? Nope, still too wide. It looks like Coates is going to get the run on the outside.
Seems like the outside is really the place to be, especially as the tires get warmed up. You're going to carry more momentum off the corner, and one of the things we heard the drivers talking about pre-race was the second line will become the inside lane, and by the end of this race, the third line will really be the preferred passing groove.
That's going to be fun to watch, especially with the aero wash these cars have. I don't know if I'd want to be running up in that third line that close to the wall.
Let's head back to the front of the field here. We've got a battle for the race lead. Charles Teed has it to the inside. Matt Wagner wants it to the outside. Little drag race down the back straightaway. Teed able to make that inside lane work. And Patrick, I would imagine that's something you're going to adjust with your anti-roll bars, your weight trackers. You're really going to try to get the car set up to either run the second lane or run the inside lane and conserve your tires the best you can.
Absolutely. I think this is a mistake by Charles by just running the inside line. He is going to eat up his tires. They will make it the full 40 laps, but I don't think they'll have very much speed in them by then.
Seeing one car coming in to the pit road. That is Alex Ress. Looks like he may have made contact with the outside wall. iRacing has updated not only their collision algorithm, but the yellow flag algorithm as well, where we are seeing far fewer cautions for single car incidents unless you're blocking the racing line, is basically what has to happen. If it's a multiple car incident, it's almost always going to draw a caution. But the single car spins, we're seeing far fewer cautions, and that really changes your thought process as a driver because you're not going to get those little kind of ticky-tack cautions every so often.
Yeah, you really have to work on strategy more now, and you have to work on trying to save enough fuel while still being fast and keeping up with the leaders. It's a very, very difficult thing to do here with this new system.
Working lap number 21 now. Are we in a scenario where drivers are going to have to start saving fuel if they want to make it on 2 stops? Or are they going to now pretty cleanly make it to, say, lap 45 or so and be able to truly make it on 2 stops?
I would say TJ McMurray just hit the wall pretty hard. We're having another caution. Everyone is going to safely make it to lap 40 now, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple cars come down pit road this time by.
Yeah, let's take a look here and see if we can't find TJ here. We'll get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See if TJ had some help.
Looks like you.
If it was kind of an arrow push deal.
It looked to me like he had some help. I kind of saw him take out another car. But we'll see here in a second.
Yeah, we actually didn't even see a crash register for TJ here. So we had to go back to find kind of an earlier spot to pick him up. Oh, yeah, he definitely had some help into the outside retaining wall. So we'll come back to live racing here because we did have a handful of pit stops here. Several cars making their way off of pit road now, led by Nicholas Wilson, the 77 of Joseph Brilava, Kyle Hanna, James Kruger, Zach Evans, Jim Brooks, Jay Shallington, Alexander Ball, Brian Vols, Jeff Destino, Casey Knighton, all electing to come in. Also, Charles Teed and Matt Wagner stopping on this opportunity here as well. So that kind of opens up the strategy window here a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see these cars making it on a two-stop strategy anymore. However, this might be the move to win the race. Just coming into the pits now, grabbing a new set of tires, filling the car up with fuel. If we get another couple of cautions here sporadically through the rest of the race, they might still be able to do it.
Yeah, looking at, assuming that 40 lap number here, that would put a stop at lap number 62. It's only going to get you to between 91 and 106. So you're definitely going to need some help to make this strategy work here. But it's going to put AJ Muscleman up to the race lead. Absolutely reshuffling the entire top 10. Chris Wilhite now going to run in the second position. Tyler Hunt, third. James Watson up to the fourth position. J.W. Miller, fifth. Eric McCarthy, sixth. Seventh to Ty Richter. Sebastian Kinder, eighth. And then we get into some of the cars that have already stopped. Charles Teed, he was your race leader at the time of the caution. He restarts in the ninth position. Cullen Johnston stopped on lap 8 after one of the incidents. He's back up to his 10th starting position. Want to remind everybody, give the video a like and a share. It's an absolutely free way to show your support of the esports community and our efforts here at the National Racing Network. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, we appreciate you hanging out with us here on an absolutely gorgeous Thursday night.
I'm excited to watch Charles Teed come up back through the field, see how much speed he really has in that car if he can work through these cars on older tires.
Yeah, we'll kind of get you the numbers here. Oh, sorry about that, Patrick. Go ahead.
I was going to say that'll be really put on kind of a good visual example of the difference between new tires and old tires, seeing how well he's able to drive up through the field, and if taking tires later on in the race is a viable option.
Absolutely, because your top 8, as you can see on the screen there, all have gone 24 laps. Now, when we slide back here to Charles Teed, he is the first car that has made a pit stop under this particular caution flag. So we'll see how this is all going to shake out. iRacing safety car will be coming in this time. Passing on the outside before the start-finish line is completely legal. That's why you see everybody hugging up against the outside retaining wall. It was a good start for Muscle Man, but just as good of a start, quite frankly, for Chris Wilhite. He is going to be significantly closer than what Muscle Man's been to White as they head into one. Oh, one car sliding back to the inside. We'll see. Yep, that is going to bring out a caution flag. Trouble on the racetrack for Nicholas Wilson. Saw that car make a very hard left-hand turn. Take a look at your Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. I may have had some help, but that almost just looked like the car was loose on cold tires off it too.
Yeah, to me it didn't look like he had any help. It just looked like he got on the power just a little bit too early and the back end came around on him. Thankfully, it doesn't hit anything. He's able to continue on going.
Well, there is a way that we can identify that one pretty clearly here, because we can get you the instant replay out of the gearbox of Nicholas Wilson. Yeah, you could hear it. You hear the rear tires start to spool up, and nice job keeping the car off the retaining wall to the inside, though. A little bit of flat spotting on the tires, but that could have been a whole lot worse for the 83 of Nicholas Wilson. Looks like we have several cars that are electing to come down pit road this time, including Chris Wilhite. That will be regularly scheduled service. A whole lot quicker than what we're used to seeing in some of the full-bodied stock car stuff. Although Wilhite now looks like he may have kind of jumped out of the car here, because Benjamin Coombs is on his way out. Now we got Chris Wilhite back. Well, sort of. No, it looks like Chris Wilhite may be out of the race here. Tough break for him. He was running up towards the front of the field.
And not sure what's going on that one. I don't think he hit anything. I didn't see anything anything like that from his car.
While we have a moment here under caution, want to make sure we say a couple of big fat thank yous to some of the people that help make these National Racing Network broadcasts possible, including Hot Shoe Racewear. Whether it's workwear, racewear, or streetwear, Hot Shoe Racewear absolutely will have you looking at your best. Head on over to hotshoeracewear.com. Check out their full inventory, and make sure you let Alan and the team know that NRN sent you. Also have to say a big thank you to Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. They are your one-stop shop for the best in floor coverings, coatings, treatments, and more. They can put your logo down on the floor of your shop, garage, your deck, even your porch. They really do fantastic work. They will have your stuff looking great all the time. Find them on Facebook at Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So now it looks like, Patrick, we're in a situation here where we have, you can't really say two strategies that have started to play out, because the stops are only on, it's only a handful of lap difference here, but 67 is going to get you to 111 at the rate we're getting cautions. That may be enough to put you over the number here.
Absolutely. These drivers, especially if they sit back, stay, I don't want to say stay in dirty air, but stay behind another car, get that draft, they can absolutely save enough fuel to the end, especially if they're shutting the car off, cycling it under these cautions. I don't see any problem with making it all the way to 120 on the strategy they're on.
Yeah, that's always a little bit of a dicey move in these IR18 Indy cars, because they do not have an onboard starter, so you basically got to bump start yourself. So long as you're keeping the speed up, it's not a difficult thing to do, but you can definitely cost yourself a win here, or a very good finish anyway, messing that maneuver up. We do have a total of 6 cars that have not come into the pits yet. That is your top 5. AJ Muscleman, Tyler Hunt, J.W. Miller, Eric McCarthy, and Ty Richter. Also 7th place running Sebastian Kinder has not stopped yet either. Hard chargers of the race include the number 30 of Eric McCarthy. Let's get you a look at that car. He's your hard charger so far, up 15 positions from the drop of the green flag. Also up 15 is the number 81 of Kyle Hanna. J.W. Miller up 11, also Ty Richter, Sebastian Kinder. One more we'll show you here a little bit further back in the pack, but the 76 of Jim Brooks is up 13 positions from where he started this race. Pace cars in, green flags back in the air, lap number 31 on the scoreboard. AJ Muscleman going to lead the field into turn number 1, and how about this? Let's get the announcers to be quiet. We'll give you fans a chance to crank it up. Tell you what, Patrick, we build these crank it up cams not necessarily with the speed of an Indy car in mind. These guys are absolutely flying around this place. Tyler Hunt going to look to the outside of AJ Muscleman for the lead into 3.
Doesn't look like he's going to try and complete the move. Up to the outside he goes. Can he make it stick going through 1 and 2 and complete the pass in the backstretch?
We'll see if he's going to be able to get that V6 wound up, get the turbos spooling in a big way. Not quite close enough here. Also have a fight a little bit back in the pack. That's going to be Ty Richter looking around Eric McCarthy. They'll battle side by side off of 4 as well. Actually, a lot of good battles throughout the field here. We can slide back just a little bit farther. Pick up your early race leader, Charles Teed, still running in the 9th position. As 10th place running Scott Wise looking to his inside. I'll tell you what, Patrick, we may be getting an answer here that the stop for tires may not be worth it here if you only have a handful to go.
Absolutely, and it doesn't look like he's doing as good in this dirty air as he was leading the field. The car is not going as fast, and if he can't make that move work on the outside, I don't see him making it on the inside.
Yeah, it's almost like he's going to have to make the inside lane even shorter here, because one of the things that some of the drivers talked about pre-race was that as the run would go on and as the track would warm up, the outside lane would become as quick as the inside lane. So if you're running almost identical lap times, the shorter way around is not necessarily always going to be faster.
Absolutely, and all that shorter line does is eat your tires up. I would much rather sit in the middle line or even try and make a move, try and build that third groove in so you can make a move later in the race.
Here's Matt Wagner looking inside of Eric McCarthy. I believe he will get the pass completed. Caution flag back out on the speedway. Looks like trouble for James Kruger. Take a look and see if we can see what happened to James. Oh, he just looped it. Kind of all on his own. That's a little bit surprising to see there. Oh, man. Ooh. That was incredibly tight for that pack of cars coming past.
I don't see him driving that car back to pit lane. I think he's going to need to tow it here.
Yeah, let's take a look, see if we can get you. Yeah, he's going to loop it off at turn number 2. He's going to keep fighting that car all the way back, though. Now looks like we have our top 5, top 6 cars making their way down pit road. This is now where I would say these drivers are not necessarily comfortable, but you can just about be guaranteed to make it from here on 2 stops. Second stop would put you at around lap number 80. And then obviously that'll get you out to potentially as far as lap 124. See who's going to win this race off of pit road. It will be AJ Musselman over Tyler Hunt, J.W. Miller, Ty Richter, and Eric McCarthy will be the 5th car off of the pit lane. But we head back. We've got a new race leader. Goes by the name of Matt Wagner. We'll see what he's going to be able to do at the front of the field. Patrick, it really has been a case of clean air is the best thing you can possibly get.
Absolutely. It looks a lot like Scott Dixon at Texas last weekend, where he just got in front and was able to keep it. As long as you keep the front in this race, maybe skipping a pit stop during a caution may be the key to keeping you out there tonight.
Yeah, it's almost like as this race develops, when the caution flags fly, it could potentially put somebody that has stopped here on lap 40 in a bit of a bind, because if they end up needing fuel late in the race, you can really see things jumble up here depending on when that last caution flag happens to fly.
Absolutely. I don't recall you saying, does this series run a green-white checker?
You know, that's a fantastic question. I don't know the answer to that one.
Man, that would be interesting to see, especially with strategy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, it's almost like if you were the cars running in 4th, 5th, 6th, did you almost need to pit here? Because now you are absolutely in 2-stop strategy territory, or at least you can make it to the end on one more, I should say. If you, basically the cars that stopped on lap 22 are only about anywhere from 10 to 15 laps away from needing a pit stop here. Now, we've had the yellows to help them out a little bit, but they can't make it on one more stop.
No, if they go green the whole rest of the way, it's really going to screw those guys up and possibly put them 1 or 2 laps down and take them out of contention.
Yeah, this will be very, very interesting to watch how this develops here as the race goes on, because we have the cars that stopped on lap 39. First one of those is going to be AJ Musselman, now back into 13th position. It's basically what we're seeing in timing and scoring is 3 separate groups of cars. The cars that stopped on lap 22, the cars that stopped on lap 27, and the cars that stopped on lap 39. They're just going to continue to cycle through, so it almost is like you hope your cycle is the one out front when the last caution comes.
Looks like lights are out on the pace car. We're going to go green this time by.
Yep, Matt Wagner way up against the outside safer barrier, stopping that early pass. He can basically go anywhere from now until the starter throws the green flag. He waits it out almost the entire way. We're back underway here at Kansas. Mario Miranda, Charles Teed now back towards the front of the field. Daniel Harvey, ask and ye shall receive. Here's the onboard look from Charles Teed. We'll find the right button eventually, we promise.
It looks like he's worked his way all the way back up to the front. It's going to be interesting to see here if he can make something stick and get himself back in that clean air.
Yeah, I mean, the air is... He's still in a little bit of dirty air. He does have cars in front of him, but it's not nearly going to be as turbulent as when you're fighting back through the pack. And, I mean, his hands are just so steady behind the wheel.
In this situation, it is so hard to not see those two cars, one on the bottom, one on the top, and want to shoot that gap. I'm really glad he didn't. If he did, that may have taken the big smooth move of the race.
One of the things we'll also see as the race develops here is, unless there's a league rule that prohibits it, the drivers may start to use the apron a little bit on that front straightaway. It can upset the car, but once you get some heat in the tires, they'll stick when you try to make that re-entry.
I think we may see it for a last lap pass or a late race pass. I don't think I would. As I say that, he's shooting down to the bottom of the seat.
Big move by Mario
And it
Miranda.
looks like it's going to work for him.
Yeah, he got a big old run down into turn number 1. Wagner's going to have the drafting help, but it may not matter here as Mario Miranda makes the first on-track pass for the race lead. At least the first one we've seen in quite a while. Wagner going to fight back on the outside as we put lap number 48 on the board.
Oh, man, that was impressive. With the way these cars have just been snapping around, I would have been way too scared to go and shoot below that white line. But he made it stick there, at least for 2 laps.
Caution flag on the speedway once again. Issues for Cullen Johnston. Also, Shane Wyatt may have gotten a piece of that as well. Get you a hot shoe race for instant replay. Oh, Johnston just bounced it off the outside retaining wall. Comes down the racetrack, and Shane Wyatt absolutely piles into him. Tough break there for Shane Wyatt. See if we can't get you another, we'll get you the onboard look here and see what Shane saw out of his view.
Oh, man, just no time to react there. That car comes down so fast, and it is so hard to readjust your line here in these cars. Unfortunate situation for him, but I do believe he has a backup car waiting in the pits for him.
Yeah, that's about as frustrated as you could possibly be as a driver, and he's going to have to take the tow in, which means it's going to be a long stop, and he will go multiple laps down here. But how frustrating is that as a driver? I mean, it borders on rage quit territory at some point, when, especially if you're not having a good night. And if the reality is probably Cullen Johnston should have probably kept that a little bit closer towards the outside retaining wall.
Absolutely, that would have been the goal, but at the same time, if you're not sure of the cars coming behind you, with that high line being the preferred groove, I would say he wasn't in the wrong by trying to come down. However, a little more situation awareness on both parties, and that may have been avoided.
Yeah, it was definitely not. It wasn't full arc of brakes, but there was not a whole lot of braking going on either there. So, yeah, we'll definitely say that one probably could have been a little bit different each way. Now, I would imagine we're going to see the cars that stopped around lap 22, because we did have some stop 21, a couple on 27. We may see some of those cars elect to pit, not seeing anybody dive off just yet. At this point, I guess you're sort of in a situation now. If you're one of those cars that stopped at lap 22, you've sort of had your bed made for you, where you now have to stretch this fuel run as long as you possibly can to try to get into two-stop territory.
I almost think it's a mistake not pitting. They're going to have to make it at least another 10 laps, and with more and more cars dropping out of the lead lap and dropping out of the race, I don't see there being as many cautions as we've had in this beginning sector. However, I have been proven wrong many times before in the course of these 51 very short laps. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very exciting to watch for sure.
Yeah, the strategy play is always important here. Now, we talk about the undercut and the overcut a little bit when you're on the road courses. You talk about it less on the ovals, only because the opportunities have to present themselves. Whereas on the road courses, it's a little bit more organic in how those opportunities will arise. However, the cars that made it to lap 39 are absolutely in an overcut situation at this point. They've managed to trap almost half the field here, potentially a lap or two down if we get a long green flag run.
Oh, absolutely. The reason you don't see those strategies come into play as much on ovals is because we have a lot more cautions. If you get a track that puts on green flag racing just about the entire race, you will hear us talk about the undercut and overcuts, and they do come into play a lot more at those tracks, and you can see most of the field go a lap down in those circumstances.
So we'll take a look here. Your top four, top four, all stopped on lap 22. Fifth place, Benjamin Combs, stopped on 27. The first car to stop on lap 39 is AJ Musselman. He's worked his way back to the 8th position. The lights are out, so we're getting ready to go back to green here, but we'll have to, next caution, we may have to try and bring in one of these drivers that is on the lap 22 strategy, kind of to see where their thought process is at this point. But getting ready for the green flag to go back in the air. It's a good start for Matt Wagner. Mario Miranda is going to have Charles Teed about 3 car lengths back as they head into turn number 1.
Seeing a lot more just single file cruising than I have been on the last couple of restarts. So I think those guys in the lap 22 pit strategy might have stuck themselves into a hole on this one.
Yeah, first really tight battle on the racetrack here is going to be AJ Musselman, Tyler Hunt. James Watson just ahead of Musselman. We've got to fight for the race lead as well. Wagner to the outside. Mario Miranda to the outside. Not quite close enough to make that pass work. Miranda gets the tow down the front straightaway. Seems like Wagner's able to pull a little bit of a gap in the middle of the corners, and that's all the space he needs here. Now as Miranda's going to end up fighting with Charles Teed, that'll be the battle for second, but how about almost 3 wide for the race lead off of 4? And great battles throughout the field here. We'll stick with this one here at the front. There's a couple of good ones back in the pack as well. Tyler Hunt, J.W. Miller still fighting within a tenth or so of each other. Everybody else now separating out to between a quarter and a half second apart. Not your race leaders, though.
Mario Miranda is really trying everything he can, trying to kind of weave back and forth, break the draft from Charles Teed while trying to pass the leader. It's very, very hard. It's an insane balancing act to try, and usually ends with that car in 3rd place.
Here's Teed looking to the inside through 3 and 4. Teed's now got to be careful of the aero wash here. In fact, you may have seen it a little bit there where he had to back out to avoid pushing up the racetrack into Miranda. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen Miranda go back to that inside lane yet. Is that just a matter of Matt Wagner's doing a fantastic job of covering the line?
That's definitely it. He's holding the bottom line just about the entire way around the track, and if you do go below that line in the tri-oval and get side by side with Matt Wagner, he has no obligation to let you back up. It's no guarantee that you're not going to just wreck coming into turn 1. So it's a very, very risky maneuver. I don't blame him for not trying it again.
Yeah, almost like he showed the hand a little bit too early here. But we are one lap away from halfway. Cross flags in the air at the flag stand. Lap number 60 going on the scoreboard as we're on board here with Charles Teed, giving you a great look out the front of that number 50 machine at the battle for the lead. Patrick, we can hear them grabbing the gears. These cars are going to be tuned where 6th gear is your passing gear, 5th gear is going to be more of a cruising gear, correct?
Yes, 5th gear you want geared out to where you see those lights on his steering wheel there. You want it geared out to where you're just pegging the red light coming into the turns right before you lift. 6th gear is going to be geared out just ever so slightly higher, just to give you a couple extra mile an hour to make the pass.
Seeing caution flag on the speedway once again here. Trouble for Jason Hand. In fact, he made a very quick jump back to the pits. Let's get you the Hot Shoe Raceware instant replay on this one. See what happened to Jason. Man, I'm shocked that we're still seeing cars with what amounts to a self-spin on corner exit at turn 2 here.
Seems to be a nasty corner. I'm wondering if there's maybe a bump in the track. Maybe they're just taking the line wrong and getting in between one of the seams on the racetrack, and it's just sending them around.
We've seen that in the PM18 All-Oval Series, the TNT Series. Those cars at places like New Hampshire, Gateway, IRP, as just about everybody towards the front of the field going to make their way down pit road, with the exception of some of these cars that stopped at lap number 39. That's really a big thing, is that you're seeing the cars get on the seams, and for whatever reason, that seam is far slipperier, or slicker, I guess, than the rest of the racetrack. Oh, Charles Teed overshoots his pit box just a little bit. That's going to cost him potentially a spot or two on exit here. It's going to be at least one spot. As a 27.
I count. I was gonna say I just counted 3 spots he lost just there doing that, overshooting his box by what looked like 5 feet.
Yeah, no margin for error, or at least very, very little here in the iRacing service. In the real world, yeah, your crew guys can slide a little bit. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but not here in iRacing. You've really got to hit your marks pretty tight.
This caution came at a perfect time for all those drivers that pit on lap 22, though. I don't think they could have asked for anything more of a blessing.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they had some laps. Well, quite frankly, a bunch of laps under caution. But we had a 10 to 12 lap green flag run there. I don't know that they would have made 10 to 12 laps if we had stayed green there to pit with everybody else. So basically now what we're looking at here is these cars that stopped on lap 62, because they're on full tanks right now, they're looking at anywhere between lap 91 and lap 106 is when they're going to have to make a final pit stop. Everybody else is going to have to come in somewhere between lap 69 and 84, but that's also not factoring in the caution lap, so you're probably more talking like laps 80 to lap 90 potentially, I would think. Let's give you a little bit of a rundown here. Mountain Hauler number 80 of Tyler Hunt is your race leader. That car has been very strong throughout the night. A little bit quiet in how he's gotten to the front, but good run so far for that machine. Just back behind him, the AJM Consulting number 54 of AJ Muscleman. He's led a couple of different times throughout the race here. Now cycling back to the front as the pit stops cycle their way through. The 6 of J.W. Miller in that absolutely gorgeous Dan Gurney All-American Racers Castrol livery. Winner for throwback of the night, at least in my book anyway. He currently runs in the 3rd position, up 11 spots from the drop of the green flag. Ty Richter in the number 33, Honda Team Watson Racing entry, running in the 4th position. How about this one? TJ McMurray, who was involved in a huge wreck earlier in the race tonight, last stopped on lap 21, and he's still out on the racetrack here. Huge strategy gamble here for the Mediocre Motorsports number 48. We'll see how that one's going to be able to play out for TJ. There's Sebastian Kinder in the Team Watson Racing number 97. Sebastian currently running in the 6th position. Where it is, I believe, about 2 o'clock in the morning, where Sebastian is in France. Dedicated iRacer there. Green flag back in the air. Tyler Hunt leads the field.
It's an absolutely amazing start.
Yeah, he not only did he get a great start, but Muscleman's going to stay up right on his rear wing. AJ Muscleman to the inside. Power move inside of 3. He's going to grab the race lead from Tyler Hunt. I would not be surprised to see AJ Muscleman set sail here a little bit with how strong that run was. Well, maybe not, because caution flags back out on the speedway. May have been trouble for Charles Teed. That would be an absolute heartbreaker for Teed. Get you the Hot Shoe Raceway instant replay here. Oh, a couple of cars having an issue ahead of them. Teed gets it woed up and back onto the racetrack. Trying to see who that was. May have been Gary Corley that had the issue. Take a look here and see what happened. Keep your eye on that green car in the middle. Pushed up into the outside
Looks like he just pushed
retaining wall.
right
Yeah. Tough break, because there were a couple other cars that made pretty substantial contact there. And I believe Corley, yeah, he did. He tried to drive it back, but he had to jump back to the pit area. So the strategy games will continue here. I would imagine we won't see anybody on pit road. See if we can find TJ McMurray here. TJ McMurray, Chris Graham in the NRM booth. You have a copy on us?
Oh, yeah, I do. What's up, guys?
Oh, man, you are on a heck of a strategy call here, brother. You last stopped, at least by our timing and scoring, on lap 21. What's the thought process here? How soon till you run out of fuel?
That's going to be pretty soon, but I'm banking on cautions that have been happening every 10 laps.
I was going to say, basically, if you can make it to lap 80, you're home free here, and you're currently sitting inside the top 5. I'm guessing that's kind of what the plan is.
That's what I'm hoping for, winning it on pit strategy with all these cautions happening.
Well, it's a fantastic run so far. You're up 16 spots from the drop of the green flag, so good luck to you. We'll see how it plays out.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for broadcasting.
So there you go. That's TJ McMurray.
It's fantastic to see him make a comeback from his incident earlier in the race.
getting a message here from one of the series admins. This one's actually pretty interesting here in that it sounds like part of the issue that some of these drivers may be having was that it sounds like this was a fixed setup race. So, yeah, basically, when you're on a fixed setup, you're having to use only in-car adjustments to tailor these cars to drive how you would like them to.
Yeah, thankfully a couple years ago with the fixed setups, iRacing gave us the ability to use the weight jacker and the anti-roll bars. And I believe you do have access to the fuel mixtures too, which gives you a little bit of tailoring to make the car how you want to drive it, but any of the problems the car has from the setup, you're not going to be able to dial those out with only the weight jacker and roll bars.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest headache is even with slight variations in weather conditions and some of those kinds of things, you can take a great handling setup and make it very difficult to handle just with a few degrees in temperature change. In fact, let's pull that weather data back up for you here. Ambient temperature down to 70 degrees. Track temp is down to 71, so we're cooling off here as the sun has set at Kansas Speedway. That's going to make just a couple of degrees difference is a huge change to how these cars are going to drive.
Oh, absolutely. It looks to me like they're just getting tighter and tighter. This 2 cautions in a row now. We've had a car bounce from the outside wall.
Getting ready to come back to green. Thank you very much. Soraya Rosaria checking in from France. Giving some love to Sebastian Kinder. Europe, Australia. We know we have some North American viewers. Are any of our South American buddies watching tonight? Hopefully you are. Lap 71 on the board. It's a good start once again for AJ Muscleman as he heads back to turn number 1. The gap's going to open up. Let's slide back in the pack here. Here's Alexander Ball looking to the outside. Oh, man, big slide up the racetrack. That was the 48 of TJ McMurray. That bottles everybody up. It's going to be 2 by 2 all the way through 3 and 4.
This is the pack racing we were talking about in the pre-race. This is very, very scary and difficult to do with this many cars on track.
Yeah, things start to get sketchy in a hurry here. TJ McMurray sliding back. Something that you mentioned earlier, Patrick, about the tire fall off that comes from this. I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember how many cautions we've had at this point. TJ McMurray's tires have heat cycled to the point that they are completely skunked at this point.
I think he's taken a cue from Fred Flintstone and has big chunks of stone for tires now. They must be hard as a rock.
Yeah, definitely not going to be real fun to drive here. Seems like things are starting to settle down just a little bit, except for at the front of the field. AJ Muscleman to the inside, Tyler Hunt to the outside. Scott Wise just went fastest lap of the race, 24.89 seconds out of the 6th position. Seeing Mario Miranda getting some love here in the comments as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out with us here on, I guess, now Friday morning if you're in Europe. Good Lord. Very cool. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. J.W. Miller wants a piece of the action here towards the front of the field. Hunt's trying
He's
that
sitting
same
in prime position.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hunt is trying that same line that Miranda was trying a couple of green flag runs ago. It seems like it's really going to take that kind of gut check, throw it in on the apron to get the pass made for the lead.
Still think it's a little too early to show your card. I'd wait till lap 100, lap 110 to start throwing moves around like that. You got to catch the guy in front by surprise.
Yeah, you don't want to even show them that you're going to be able to pull it off. That's the other one, is the move is not necessarily about making the move. It's making the other driver unsure if you're going to make it stick or not, and just cause that little bit of a lift. That's really where the pass gets made. Pretty rapidly approaching the final pit stop window opening here. In fact, I would say it pretty close to is open at this point. Still 24 cars on the lead lap. I cannot believe that one. 32 cars were scheduled to take the green flag here. Actually, Julian Altina has made it into the race. He's currently running in the 29th position, so he missed the start due to the tech issue with his wheel. But with all the retirements that we've had, Julian able to make up some ground here. Every point is going to matter here as we get late in the season. But TJ McMurray now into pit road, as is Jason Hand. So now the undercut, this is where the undercut has come into play. TJ McMurray is banking on the fact that he can make it to the end from here. If the yellow flies, everybody else will have to pit.
Yeah, once he gets out in front and in that clean air, as you see here, it will be very, very difficult to pass him. So that might be the race-winning move.
It very well could be. His problem now is he's currently a lap down because he stopped under green. He needs everybody to cycle through, and he's just got to lay down monster lap after monster lap, but do it with that clean air advantage. This may get tight here late in the race. Good battle going on for the fourth position. There is Mario Miranda and Ty Richter. These two are both catching the race leaders here in a hurry. J.W. Miller slides up the racetrack, tries to take a little bit of the air off the front of Miranda's machine, but it may not make a difference. And Miranda's right up against that safer barrier on corner entry.
I was going to say, it looks like that third line has come in pretty hard now.
Let's do this. We'll give you one more shot at this. Hopefully we stay green. Everybody at home, you all can crank it up. Lap 86 on the scoreboard. The battles for the race lead. AJ Muscleman to the inside. He's going to grab the lead away from Tyler Hunt. We'll see how Muscleman's going to be able to benefit from the clean air, but tell you what, that 99 machine of Mario Miranda is absolutely flying right now.
Oh, yeah, he's right there waiting. I wouldn't be... For him, I think he's going to make that move below the apron again as this race draws to a close.
Yeah, he's got the handling dialed into the car to make it work. You wonder how the length of the run will change with that, knowing that now that this is a fixed setup, you really have to get the car dialed into your liking to make that move viable. Starting to play out a little bit like you said here, Patrick. We're going to knock on wood, but you mentioned having fewer cautions late in the race, and we're starting to see that now. It'll be lap number 90 next time they come by the start-finish line. So it'll be 31 to go this time by. And here come your race leaders down pit road. Ooh, almost
Both of them
contact.
coming in a little too hot.
Yeah, they were screaming. Oh, caution flag is out. Yellow flag is on the racetrack. What?
Oh, this is going to be awesome for Miranda and Miller. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, for Musselman and Hunt. They're now going to get to come down, make their pit stops. They just have to hope that they get out before the pace car gets back around, which they should do fairly easily here.
Given every other car in the field pits, this is probably going to trap TJ McMurray back a lap down, but if every other car in the field is going to pit, basically gives them a free pit stop, they're going to retain the lead of the race.
Yep, that was, wow. Pretty darn epic there to have that sequence happen. Let's see if we can get a look here at what happened. Trouble on the racetrack, I think, oh, yeah, they were starting to slow down for pit road. Oh, and we've got a big one on the front straightaway. Several cars going to be involved. Jim Brooks involved in that one. Also, James Kruger, Brian Voles. Multiple cars having issues. We'll come back here and pick up Mario Miranda. He's going to lead the charge down pit road. But this is going to cycle Matt Wagner to the race lead. He hasn't stopped yet. How about this one, Patrick? Knowing the gamble that TJ McMurray took, being able to go almost 80 laps, or excuse me, 60 plus laps after stopping at lap 22. Can Matt Wagner, Charles Teed, Eric McCarthy, Nicholas Wilson, Jeff Destino, they could potentially make the end of this race.
They may be able to. I don't know if the tires are going to be able to hang on that long, but if there's a big enough group of them up there at the front, it's going to be very hard for these cars on newer tires to get around them.
Especially when you consider that even if we get the caution, at this point, that sort of tells me they're committing to this strategy here. Let's see if we can get race leader Matt Wagner up here into the booth. Well, we don't have Matt in the Discord here. Trying to see who we have in the series Discord that we might be able to talk to here. All right, Jeff Destino, Chris Graham in the NRM booth. Do you have a copy on us?
Yeah, I do. Can you copy me?
Yeah, buddy.
How's it?
Well, we're going to ask you how you're doing here because we may be coming back to 1 to green, but have you now basically committed yourself to I'm not stopping again strategy?
Yes, I have. I think I have enough gas to make it through. So I think I'm going to make it.
That's an awful lot of I thinks, but hey, we're excited to see how this plays out because we've got 5 or 6 cars here. You guys are all on the same strategy now.
Yeah, I know that hope is not a strategy, but based on my fuel calculator, I think if there aren't any more incidents, I can actually make it to the end.
Wow. Well,
which would be a great finish for me.
I was going to say, good luck to you the rest of the way here, buddy. We'll let you get ready to go back to green.
Thank you very much.
So there you go. That's Jeff Destino. The die has been cast now. It's a matter of how is this one going to play out. We'll slide back up, pick up race leader Matt Wagner. These are some guys that may be punching above their weight a little bit here. But also, we can't ignore that second-place car, Charles Teed. He was incredibly quick early on in this one.
Oh, absolutely. He's played all the right moves, brought himself back to the front here for these last 20 or so laps of the race. He's going to be my one to watch here.
Base car is back in. Green flag goes back in the air. Wagner's going to lead the field, but man, did Charles Teed get a good restart that time. We'll see who's going to be battling for position here. Eric McCarthy looks inside. Caution is out. Yellow flag back on the racetrack. Looks like may have been trouble for Cullen Johnston here. And these yellow laps are absolutely setting these drivers up to go the rest of the way. Let's take a look here, see what happened to Cullen Johnston. Oh, he may have had some help. Let's take a look here and see. We can get a little bit different look at it here. Yeah, a little bit of contact, but he was sliding up the racetrack as well. Slides to the inside, right rear dangling off of that machine. So Cullen Johnston may have a difficult time getting that car back to the pits. He's managed to drive it around, which is important, but although he's going to stay out on the racetrack here, so.
I believe he's already used his backup car, so I think he's just running laps here to get 100 laps on the board, and then he's just going to pull it into the pits when the green comes out and race over.
Yeah, I do believe he's used his backup car. Tough break there for Cullen Johnston. Now we're looking back to the front, though. All of these drivers who stopped on lap 62, lap 69, they are liking their odds here. The more laps we run under yellow. Because the other thing this does is it basically shortens the race. The more laps under yellow, the fewer chances that AJ Musselman, Mario Miranda, JW Miller have to make enough passes to get to the race lead.
Those guys are going to have to be really, really aggressive on these restarts. I'm willing to call that at least one of them is going to wreck on one of these subsequent restarts just because they're pushing too hard to get to the front.
Yeah, it's the first race of the season, and it is a 15-race schedule here for the ESRA INDYCAR Series. Let's give you a little preview of what we're going to have coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Next Thursday night, the Joliet Blues 120 from Chicagoland Speedway. The sole men of the ESRA INDYCAR Series will take on the Windy City. ESRA at the Glen coming up in 2 weeks. That'll be at Watkins Glen International. And then the ESRA Indy 120 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Chicagoland, very similar to Kansas. A little bit differently shaped. You spend basically the entire lap turning, with the backstretch having an arc to it. I would call that more a traditional dog leg. And then a longer arched front straightaway. Watkins Glen is going to be absolutely epic. It always is for the IndyCars. And then we come home, back home again in Indiana, to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is going to be a very fun series to watch here over the next 15 weeks, Pat.
Oh, I'm very, very excited. I was tuning in a little bit with these guys last season, and they always put on a great, great show. I'm happy we're here able to broadcast it for them.
Yeah, and actually, we're going to get to see you in the car as well for some of these road course races.
Yes. I am running a road course only schedule with these guys, and I am super, super excited. These cars are a ton of fun on the road courses, and all of these guys race super, super hard. Really, really pushed me to the limit of my ability, and I'm glad they make it some of the most fun racing I've ever had on the service.
And you really can't complain when you have a field of 34 cars that you're competing with week in and week out. This one is really going to be a fun series to watch. One of the deepest IndyCar series on the iRacing platform. I would say pretty close in quality to what the Lionheart series is, and that's always been the standard bearer for the IndyCars on iRacing. These guys are pretty darn good as well. See the comment coming in here from Keystone Fury asking how many cars started. We'll give you the full field rundown here if we get another caution anyway. 32 cars took the green flag tonight. Currently have 21 still running on the lead lap and 22, 23 cars turning laps at this point. So now, Patrick, knowing that we've had yellow, at what point do you have to be really aggressive if you're Charles Teed and Eric McCarthy? Do you have to make that move right here on this restart?
Absolutely. Those guys need to be full send into turn one. Otherwise, they're just going to get stuck back there. We only have time for 2-3 more cautions at best. So they're not going to have a lot of restart opportunities to try and get a jump on multiple cars.
Here comes the move from Charles Teed up to the outside. Eric McCarthy going to run the high lane as well. He's basically trying to sit where he can find a little bit of clean air. Teed able to run the outside line, tucks in for the draft pull down the front straightaway. Lap number 101 on the scoreboard. 20 to go here at Kansas. Matt Wagner holding on to a 3-car length lead as they come off at turn number 2. AJ Musselman has moved back up to the 4th position, so he's climbing through the field. In fact, he's going to go to work here on Eric McCarthy. He looks to the outside, going to try to bring Nicholas Wilson with him. Jeff Destino has to dive down pit road. Not sure what the issue was there for Jeff Destino.
Possibly looked at his fuel calculator again and not enough fuel to make it to the end.
Didn't like what he was seeing.
He was on the same strategy as these lead 3 cars, so I'm curious to see if these guys are going to have to come down and make another stop before the end.
Maybe not. Caution flag back on the speedway. Trouble for Alexander Ball and Scott Wise. Let's take a look and see what happened here. Get you the hot shoe race for instant replay. Oh, man, that was just a big movement up off the outside wall. Oh, man, another car piles in. Tried to shoot for the gap that was closing, and tough break there for Alexander Ball, Scott Wise. They're going to have to tow back into the pit area. That's also going to trap drivers like Jeff Destino a lap down as well, because they did come into the pits. So now we're looking at 17 cars remaining on the lead lap. This strategy game is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out now, because Wagner and Charles Teed are both on this very tight on fuel strategy. AJ Musselman running in the 3rd position is most certainly not. He stopped on lap 89 and will have plenty enough fuel to get to the end. Behind him, Nicholas Wilson, Eric McCarthy, they're both on the lap 60 train too here.
You see Matt Wagner and Charles Teed, they are both running the apron to try and cut this track as short as possible to save as much fuel as possible, so you know they're cutting it real close.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting for sure here, and want to remind everybody, coming up here in just a half hour or so, as soon as this race concludes, we're going to have to shut this stream down and pick the next one up. The Indy Pro 2000 Series heads to the Daytona Road Course for the official session of the week. So that's another one. That race will go live on our YouTube and Twitch channels. So if you're watching on Facebook, head on over to the National Racing Network on YouTube or twitch.tv/National Racing Network. This one is absolutely going to be tight here. And in fact, there may be a time limit on these races as well. We'll have to...
There is. I was just looking at, there are 17 minutes left, so if we do have cautions all the way to the end, they have 17 minutes plus 1 lap to get this race completed. We will easily complete it in that time limit.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one will be... we're definitely going to get to the end here, that's for sure. Yeah, we've got a ton of racing coming up here still tonight. Tomorrow night, we will update you as early as we find out what the situation is going to look like for Kansas Speedway. The weather does not look very promising for central Pennsylvania tomorrow night. So as soon as we know, you'll know whether there will be live racing from Kansas Speedway tomorrow night. Coming up on Saturday, the DXS Series returns to the National Racing Network. After a fantastic race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the DXS crew will come back to the NRN airwaves, taking on the Milwaukee Mile in the Dallara IR01 machinery. That place is, I would imagine, going to be pretty scary fast in an IR01. Well, Patrick, you're one of the guys running the series, man. Tell us, what have you guys seen in testing?
So the track is incredibly fast. We are doing it near flat out, hitting speeds of almost 200 miles an hour, going into the turns and staying above 140, 150 going through the turns, smashing every record IndyCar has ever held there. New Hampshire is a very, very similar track. We were seeing a lot of very loose cars at New Hampshire. However, the weather for Milwaukee is looking a little bit colder, so hopefully we get rid of some of that and hopefully nice, tight, close racing there.
Well, we're looking forward to it. But first, we're going to have a 13-lap shootout here at the Kansas Speedway. Matt Wagner has the lead. Charles Teed letting a little bit of a gap form here. He's trying to time this restart as close as he possibly can. He wants a huge run into the corner. Wagner basically slowed everybody down. We'll see if they're going to make it through turns 1 and 2 here without incident. We're going to stay with the battle for the race lead. Matt Wagner has it, and here comes AJ Muscleman to the outside. That number 54 machine has been incredibly quick all night long. He's going to continue the fight. Mario Miranda also slicing his way through the field. Oh, one car going around towards the back of the pack. Caution flag is out. This is lap 109.
So I believe it's going to put us right at a 5-lap shootout for the race win.
Trouble on the racetrack for Brian Voles. See if we can see what happened here. He may have, yeah, he came in kind of late into this one. Tried to get it slowed up, but looked like that may have been an issue for Kyle Hanna. So, the more cautions we see, the better this goes. for your race leaders. Let's get the pit stop lap graphics up on the screen here to kind of show you where everybody is. Race leader Matt Wagner and second place Charles Teed both made their final pit stops on lap number 62. AJ Musselman in third, stopping on lap 89. Nicholas Wilson running in the fourth position. He's also on that lap 69, 62 strategy. And then we have Mario Miranda running in the fifth position. Should these cars run out of fuel, we're looking at a potential podium of AJ Musselman, Mario Miranda. No surprise there. However, Ty Richter in the number 33 would be the next beneficiary if these cars are not able to make it to the end on fuel. Depending on how late this race actually goes, we may not have time for the Victory Lane interviews, but we'll definitely get you some quotes up here on the National Racing Network website from our race winners as well, if we're able to get in touch with them after the race.
Matt Wagner keeps faking me out every time he goes around by that pit lane. I keep thinking he's going to dart in and just take a splash of fuel, but it looks like he's going to stay out. And hopefully this strategy works out for him. It's a risky strategy, but looks like he's going to pull it off.
You know what? It could go down as one of the best strategy calls that we see all season long here. We were talking 35 to 40 laps of green flag running is what was kind of your max for the fuel window. These drivers are trying to go basically to split this in half and go on 2 stops. They stopped on lap 22, stopped again on lap 62, and then they're going to try to go the last 60-some laps, depending on green-white checkers here, without a final pit stop. This has the potential to be absolutely incredible, especially if we start seeing cars run out of fuel with 1 or 2 to go, because when you're at full throttle, there is not a lot of reaction time left in these cars.
Oh, absolutely. These cars do thankfully sputter a little bit before they completely stall out, so it should give the car behind those 2 cars a little bit of an opportunity to avoid them.
Get the question up here in the comments from Joe Miranda. Is it the cars or the drivers? This is crazy. What's been the percentage of cautions? I'm fairly high. I will give you that one. I don't think it's the drivers. One of the issues is that we talked about it a little bit earlier, where this is a fixed setup race. So you're really having to make a car that doesn't necessarily suit your driving style work. It sounds like starting next week, they're going to be open setups on the ovals, which will absolutely free these drivers up to be a little bit more having the cars tailored to their styles. Some of it is temperature. It is very cool. The tires are not real friendly when they get cool. The other thing is they've heat cycled these tires multiple times at this point. So these cars are a definite handful right now. Going to be 7 laps to go here at Kansas Speedway. Matt Wagner has the race lead off at turn number 2, but Charles Teed's going to be within a car length or so, and AJ Musselman pushing his way to the front as well. Teed going to look to the outside off of turn number 4. It'll be 5 to go. Next time by the start-finish line.
He's going to have to get real aggressive with these moves. If there is no green-white checker in the series, caution could come out at any moment and just hand Matt Wagner the win. Charles has to come right by him and just nose out ahead of him across that start-finish line, and hopefully that'll secure him the win here tonight.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a big move. There it is. Caution flag on the speedway. That may be it. Because we're down to 5 to go here at the Kansas Speedway. I don't even see an incident on our timing and scoring data here. So lap 116, it'll be lap 117 this next time by. Does Matt Wagner even have enough fuel to make it to the end here? Now, this is something that is a little bit interesting as well. He's basically bought himself another lap under caution here by where they're catching the pace car as well.
Yeah, he just has to put that car in fuel mode 8, which is your caution fuel saving mode, and just hope it doesn't start sputtering before that checker flag comes out.
Now, again, this is iRacing handling the race administration here. And what that means is Matt Wagner will hold on to the lead until iRacing decides he is going too slow. It is not an automatic that you have to maintain pace car speed. It's not like in the real world where the race director is sitting up top in the tower saying, nope, you to the back. This is more when the computer decides how these things are going to play out. Based on what I'm seeing, I have not seen the timing tower update to lap 121 yet, which means basically every additional lap that gets added for the green-white checkered, you'll see there pop up on the top left-hand corner of your screen. It'll go to lap 121, 122. We may get the green and white flags together here. If the lights go out on top of the pace car this time by, because they're going to be at 2 to go this time past the start-finish line.
That'll be real fun to watch if they end up with just a one-lap shootout to win it. I wouldn't be surprised if Charles comes down and does something crazy to try and take this lead.
Yeah, I'm... well, I think we have our answer here because the lights are still on the iRacing safety car, which means we are going to go to lap 120 under the caution flag. The question is, do we see that 120 become 122? Because you will take 1 lap for the green, 1 lap for the white, and then the checkered flag will come out. Not often that you see these mile-and-a-half races turn into fuel conservation mode kind of deals, but that's what we've seen here tonight, and it looks like Matt Wagner may have absolutely played this strategy to perfection. And James, Patrick, excuse me, you talked about these guys getting low on the back straightaway. Matt Wagner was practically running through the grass. He is keeping that car so low on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts sputtering and he pushed the clutch in at the top of the banking and just rolls down kind of
There's
Keep it
your
above 10 miles
answer.
an hour to go across the finish line.
Green, white, checkered finish incoming. Timing updates to lap 121. And the lights are out
Oh,
on
man.
the iRacing safety car. Do Matt Wagner
I
and
don't think
Charles
he's
Teed
gonna
have enough fuel? Oh, man. This is going to go ballistic. AJ Muscleman in the third position has been unbelievably quick this entire race. He may not even need to make an aggressive move, but he's got Mario Miranda right on his rear wing. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. The other thing to bear in mind here is there may be as many as 3 attempts, I think, at a green-white checkered here. So just because there's one, it doesn't mean this is it. Off of turn number 4. Green flag goes back in the air. Matt Wagner, Charles Teed going to lead the field down the front straightaway. I can't believe Teed was not on his rear wing. Race leaders under power through turns 1 and 2. Teed going to pull in, try to get the draft. He's looking to the outside. White flag is out. Next flag will end the race. Matt Wagner leads the field through turns 1 and 2.
If he's going to run out, it's going to be right here.
Here comes Muscleman to the outside of Teed. He's going to have Miranda with him. 3 wide for second off of turn number 4. Checkered flag in the air. Matt Wagner picks up the win. Charles Teed holds on for second. Mario Miranda gets third at the line over AJ Muscleman. Oh, what a finish.
Oh, that was awesome.
How in the world did Matt Wagner, Charles Teed, and Mario Miranda, well, I will say, Wagner and Teed, how did they make the fuel last?
I'm going to say we're going to have to tech those cars and make sure there's no fuel hiding in the roll bars.
There is your race winner. He's got enough fuel to do the victory lane donuts, too. What an absolute barn burner of a race here in Kansas. Yes, we had a bunch of caution laps, but oh my goodness, was the finish worth it. Let's get the replay here. There's Mario Miranda stopped on the front straightaway. Let's show you the white flag lap for Miranda. He was a good 6 car lengths back of Teed and Muscleman.
Just gets one hell of a run. Wow.
Massive drive through the corners. Absolutely no lift. That was never going to happen. Gutsy moved to the outside, and he missed second by about 80% of a car length. What a drive by Mario Miranda. So we'll come back and pick up your race winner here. See who we can find. We have... Let's get our third place finisher in here. Mario Miranda, talk us through that last lap. That was absolutely incredible.
There's a lot of guys. I mean, that outside line was so good. It was, I freaking loved it. And I used it a lot to get my way back up through the field, and I knew it would work that time.
Well, it was a heck of a run tonight. Was your heart starting to sink a little bit as you saw these guys staying out, knowing that if we got a bunch of cautions, you might not get to the front?
Yeah, I'm really upset about that because I was on the same fuel they were, and if I stayed out with them, I would have been the leader, and I probably would have been where Matt's at right now. But I didn't think we would have that many cautions. I didn't want to take the gamble.
Well, it was a fantastic run tonight, and it's a lot of momentum heading into a long season as well. Plus, a similar track coming up next week at Chicago.
Yeah, this is my first full-time season. Last season, I was just hired for the road courses, and I wanted to expand my journey out into IndyCar Oval, and I'm just glad I finished at an Oval.
Oh, that's fantastic, brother. Well, it was a heck of a run tonight. Congratulations on the podium. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank my sponsors, Flamingo Promo, Burnt Rubber Media, Circle B Diecast. Those guys always help me, and also the guys at Zombie Inc. And want to shout out to my mom and dad watching, and my team, Lights Out Esports.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations on the podium, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
All right, thank you guys.
Let's pick up our runner-up finisher here, Charles Teed. Charles, that was I'll say an interesting run is kind of the easiest way to say it, because you were quick up front, started on the pole, and then it just seemed like you were constantly shuffled back through the pit strategy.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a lot of practice here. It was kind of a last minute to decide to run today, and I was very fortunate to get the tools from Add-on to set up for the qualifying run. And I went out and I qualified him, which was kind of a stinker move, but it happens. But in race, once I got in traffic, I didn't realize how bad she was going to push. And so a couple folks, Mario was one that got by me right when we first went back in an early yellow. But then once I realized you had to just adjust the weight jacker up, the thing was really, really fast. And it was really more just, as we got later in the run, I could tell we were going to be really close on fuel. We had regretted not coming in for one splash. About 5 yellows to go, and then it was just map 8 and hang on. And Matt and I were both just trying to manage the car to get there. And at the end, he was just about out, and I had 1.5 gallons, so we kind of had it covered either way with me being able to draft behind him. But he did a really good job on his own setup for the car tonight, and I mirrored it, and so I kind of stole it. So it's kind of unofficial second, kind of a cheater, but we'll take it.
Well,
don't really have a team, Gary, and I'm an iRunner, so it's fun.
That's awesome. Well, it was a really good run, from beginning to end tonight, and you've got a similar track coming up next week in Chicagoland, so should be pretty confident heading into that one, I would think, as well.
Yeah, no, it's these cars are always fun. I love running. It's a good group of guys. I think there's just a lot of cars on track tonight, which caused a lot of the carnage. But yeah, it should be very similar. I love running when I can on Thursdays. It's kind of hit or miss that I can make it, but great job by Matt. Great job by Mario sneaking by AJ at the end. We're really lucky because AJ had new tires and Mario as well. They were about to eat our lunch, and we're just really fortunate. So we'll take it. Sometimes you got to be lucky rather than good.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the podium here, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Now, our Victory Lane interview. Let's head down and pick up your race winner, Matt Wagner. Wow. I am absolutely shocked still that you were able to get 62 laps worth of race ethanol out of that car.
It was a whole lot of fuel saving and strategy to go along with it.
Yeah, impressive run. Now, the car was quick. Let's not sell you short here. You did start second. So what was that like once you knew that you were committed to that strategy of we're going to go to the end from here?
Once everybody, we were kind of debating, me and Charles were talking in chat. We're kind of debating on, do we pit? Do we stay out? And I said, you know what? Let's gamble. Let's go for the win, man. And so that's exactly what we did. We could have fuel saved a little bit better. I could have had more fuel left. But over and all, I wish the race was a lot more cleaner. This is just my perspective. But It will be hopefully shaken out by next week.
Yeah, I would say we absolutely are going to see something a little bit different when we come to Chicagoland Speedway next week. So, congratulations! It was a fantastic win for you tonight. Who would you like to thank?
I would like to thank NRN, Brandman Paints, who just painted this car just before I got on track today. Team Watson Racing, a bunch of people. Butt Kicker, Area 51. Thank you. I love you guys. It's a good win just for you guys. And also HyperX with their headsets. And I really appreciate them.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the win. Hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
I hope so. We'll see.
So there you go. There's your race winner, Matt Wagner. Really a pretty good night of racing, even with all the cautions that we had, Patrick. And we'll get the results here up on screen real quick. Actually, we'll get the right results up on screen, not qualifications. Your race results, Matt Wagner over Charles Teed, Mario Miranda, AJ Musselman, Eric McCarthy, your top 5. We're going to have to get off the air here in just a moment and get ready for the PM18s as well. But, Patrick, what are you thinking here after night 1 of the ESRA INDYCAR Series?
I am excited for the rest of the season. It looked a lot tonight like everyone was just getting their first race of the season jitters out. Next week at Chicago, if it's anything like tonight, is going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, and this one has been a ton of fun. But we're going to have to wrap things up here and get ready to go over and head down south to Daytona Beach, Florida for the Indy Pro 2000 Official Series. For Patrick Byrne, everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. We'll talk to you in about 10 minutes from Daytona.